Talk to me about process and how, because it certainly helped me. I'd love to understand, how do you design a process to kind of, filter the right people in and the wrong people out?
Yeah, good question. So the first thing is, as we talked about, right, is you need to figure out what is it that you need. And the thing that you need is, what would it take for someone to be successful in our industry? The other piece of it all too, which is why assessments, and in particular that assessment has been so powerful for us, is the right assessment is going to help you figure out who to focus on and who not to focus on, right? It was very powerful for us as a recruiting company to go from 500 candidates to 100 candidates, right? I mean, that just cut our time by more than half, and it gave us a ton of time back for us to go after those ones that are really powerful. And so getting that in the process early on would save hiring managers an extreme amount of time, because you're not having to go through resumes. The other piece, right, as far as what to look for, is you have to see what people do, Colin, right? Again, most salespeople, they're going to say, yeah, I'm a great closer. Yeah, I know how to build rapport. Yeah, I make 1,000 calls a day, right? And again, what are they doing? They're selling themselves, right? And then they show up in a completely different person. And so if we know that, right, then we can better prepare ourselves for how do we go about figuring out whether or not that person actually does those things. And so the best predictor of success is for you to figure out, what is it that they're doing now, right? How do they go about conducting themselves? And how is it that they're going to conduct themselves by the time they get in front of my prospects? So one of the things that we teach our clients to do through our programs is, number one, not only do you need to make sure that you're asking the right questions, but two, it's how you ask the question that's more powerful than the question that you ask, right? So sometimes it's not the question itself. Sometimes it's how you go about asking the question, and how is it that that person reacts to, one, the question that you asked, and two, the way in which you ask that question. So as an example of this, right? People who are uncomfortable with rejection, right? Say that I am a salesperson, and one of my weaknesses is I can't handle rejection. I hate being rejected. So one of my questions in the interview process is, it would be an objection, right? Me throwing you an objection such as, hey, Colin, I hate to break it to you, but I'm not sure that you have the level of experience that we're looking for. And then I showed up and I look at them in the eye and I just watch them react, right? What I am expecting that person to do is to do what? Overcome that objection.
Yeah, my brain went, what the F are you thinking? Of course, because I'm taking you through my role. It's like, how much more experience do you need?
Yeah. That's for you, right? Because you have your own internal strengths and weaknesses. But most salespeople who cannot handle rejection, right? They'll either shut down completely and they'll say, okay, well, great. Thank you so much for your time, or whatever it may be, right? And by them reacting that way, they just told me everything that I need to know, right? Is the moment that the client or the prospect gives you an objection, I now know what you're going to do. You're going to fold and you're going to say, great, thanks so much for your time. See you later. Versus what we want kind of what you just mentioned, right? Is we want someone to say, what are you even talking about, right? I am the right person because A, B, C, or D, right? And so in you doing that, right, what you just showed me is what you are likely to do with your prospects, right? You are likely to overcome that objection. One, challenge it in the professional, nice way, but then two, overcome it in the way that not only am I pushing back a bit, which pushing back in the sales process is not a bad thing as long as you do it at the right time in the right way, right? But you are showing me that not only can you push back, which shows me not a need for approval, but then two, you also show me that you are able to overcome those objections. So in the hiring process, sure, having great questions is important, but again, it's how you ask the question and how that person reacts that's the most important. Another example is, we were talking about closing earlier, right? And we asked the question of, are you a great closer? And of course, they're going to say, of course, I'm the best. Instead, right, what you need to be looking out for from a hiring perspective is you need to hear how is it that they close, right? Do they even close? Do they ask for a next step? Do they tell you, well, Colin, I believe that I am the right person for this role because A, B, C, or D? Or Colin, based on the people that you've met so far, how do you think I rank up against them? Where am I on your list? Do you think I'm going to make it to the next step? What does that next step look like? Most salespeople, they'll just say, great, talk to you later, right? And by you doing that, you just showed me everything that I need to know about what it is that you're going to do in front of the prospect. And so watching their behavior is significantly more powerful than hearing what they say.